Welcome to the John Doe Radio Show. I'm your host, John Doe. It is a Friday in the Mile High, or wherever the heck it is, or whenever time you're listening to us, or date that you're listening to us. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to all the sponsors, everybody that makes the John Doe Radio Show possible. Big thanks to Phil for getting me here. Traffic was a biatch, he said, on the way to get here this morning in a 6-car pileup on I-25. And, yeah, so anyway, somebody's been messing with my levels here. Maybe it was me. I just didn't realize it. Anyway, it is a Friday here in the Mile High. I appreciate it. We're going to have Steve Elliott, going to be giving him a call in just a minute, talking about the news, what's going on. And you probably hear my stomach rumble one or two. Right there. There it goes. Just fucking straight up just said, "Whoa." Dude. I should have a stomach mic going on right now because, dude, it's like in a quick hurry to get here. That's all right, though. We got some Nature's Valley sweet and salty nut almond here. We won't get into that. Yesterday we talked from the bad side of the other plate. Now we're talking about salty nuts. Thank you guys for hanging out with us again. Like I said, hanging out with us Monday through Friday on the John Doe Radio Show, 11 o'clock till whenever the heck we go. Also at johndoeradio.com. You can pick up anything. There's something weird. I got a setting weird here. I can hear, like, just feedback. Sorry, guys. It's just, like, weird. I can hear, like, static in the back of my hand. But when I go listen to the show, anyway, whatever. It's fine. It sounds fantastic. It's a Friday. Also, hey, I got a big announcement for you guys to make. There's a pretty darn good chance here. I don't know how fast. I don't know when. I don't know what. I got to talk with Phil. I got to talk with everybody involved in this situation. There's a pretty good chance that the show may switch to a 5 o'clock showtime, 5 o'clock Mile High time, for numerous different reasons. In a way, I kind of feel like I'm being forced into this position, but if I had a car, I wouldn't really be forced in the position, so it's really, I'm not being forced. I'm being, it's like one of them hostile takeovers, you know, of a situation. You know, you either change the time of the show or possibly have to be here for 12 hours a day, and during the middle of the day, a chunk of the time I could be working a lot, doing a lot of production, and during a chunk of that time during the day, I'd just be sitting here kicking back. Who wants to do that? I got dogs I got to take care of at home. We got situations, you know, that. Anyway, so that just a heads up here. I don't know how fast that will happen. I don't know 100% if it will happen. A lot of people have asked for it. As always, if you know the time changes and you can't make it around that time, maybe that's family time or whatever, you'll still be able to get the show from johndoeradio.com, and there will be no worries there. So. People saying in the chat room we can roll with your schedule. That's cool. Seems like we got fewer people in the chat room. Wonder if everybody's out checking out the High Times Cannabis Cup coverage or off in the cup. That's probably what it is. Everybody's off to the cup. So if you're off to the cup and you're listening maybe a little bit later, or maybe you went off to the cup and listening now, catching up. Hope you had a good time. As I said again, been a lot of strangeness between us and Normal. The Office, John Doe Radio Show, and Normal. Can't say that I have the best of feelings of being taken off the network like we were, but if you guys would like to get a hold of, beyond all that, beyond anything, like I said yesterday, if you would like to get coverage of the Cannabis Cup this weekend, make sure you head to live.normal.org, and also make sure you check out Radical Russ Belleville's Facebook page, his Twitter, all that stuff, because he's got his own private Ustream, Radical Russ Ustream, that he does his thing on. And just get yourself a taste of what could be, you know? I mean, that's what it really comes down to, you know, is getting that exposure to what it is, you know? So letting bygones be bygones, or whatever be whatever. Yeah. That's all we want to do, is bring you guys the best, bring you a flavor of that. So it's good times. Also, big thanks to our sponsors that make the John Doe Radio Show possible. Cannot thank everybody enough. And also, I gotta take a second here to make sure that we do hugely thank Platte Valley. They're huge. But hold on. Jason Lauve just walked in the room. What's up, dude?
I was just saying thank you very much to Platte Valley.
Yeah, because they're Cannabis Health News Magazine.
They're a great group of people, and their dispensary is phenomenal. I have to head up there pretty soon.
They got the brand new.
I think we're doing a photo shoot with them today.
Really? They got this brand new shatter that came in. It's a little bit slight.
I'll have to try that a little later off camera.
It's fantastic. You know what's weird though? It's got kind of a sleeper cough to it. Like, it's really smooth, really whatever. But then it's like 10 seconds later, you're kind of like, you know, like
it expands in those little small cavities in the lungs, right?
But it's
That's
fire.
a good thing.
It's fire. I don't remember what Dan from Top Shelf Extracts, who makes this, it's available at Platte Valley. Just right across the street. There'll be a commercial here in a second that you guys will hear from it. Damn, I wish it was still 11-11 in a Mile High. Anyway, for old time's sake, we'll just call it 11-11 in a Mile High. Play the home game here for a second since we rarely catch the 12-12. Anyway, Dan from Top Shelf Extracts in Platte Valley have this available now, and I'm telling you, man, just straight fire. And I can't remember when I got it what the strain is or whatever. I asked him for an indica. And I think I got an indica.
I can't wait to try it. A lot of people say, hey, you know, this is sleepy. Why don't you try this? And when I try it, a lot of times it invigorates me and wakes me up. So we'll have to see after hearing
talk about
your opinion.
Talk about sleepy. I don't think I don't think I mentioned the medications, you know, that I got prescribed here the other day, but I may have mentioned Ambien, which, you know, yesterday we talked about on the show. I don't want to get back into it huge or whatever because we got to get into Steve Elliott here, but you know, sometimes shiz is needed to be able to take care of stuff. I feel cannabis is, you know, enough to take care of a lot, but there's sometimes access, the exact proper potency, you know, all that is needed. Anyway, I don't know. Anyway, this Ambien though that I took, man, it takes like, for some people, I guess they take it like, you know, and like 20 minutes later they're like whatever, right in the fridge, you know, driving their car down the road. Takes about, and usually for me, you know, because I can't sleep, it takes about 2 to 3 hours for this thing to kick in.
I used to take that. I took that, gosh, it had to be like 2, 3, 4 years ago, something like that. And it would make my body fall asleep, but my mind would race and keep going and going and going. And my mind kind of overrode my body, if you will.
For real, in a way, dude. I'm sitting here and I'm like tired, but like my brain's not shutting down. And then all of a sudden, though, boom, I am like a brick wall, done. Like I can see how people will get out of your whole norm of your whatever, you know. Straight raid the fridge, though, dude. I'm not kidding you. They were no joking with that. I like ice cream, cereal. I'm like, if I don't, I'm gonna eat I don't, you know. There's food in the house, but I don't have a lot of food in the house right now. Bills are tough, you know, and whatever. I'm eating, but I can't be sitting here on Ambien eating everything all damn night long. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I just sat there and just lay down and try and, you know, rest my mind and talking to a new person. You know, it's this great and, you know, making me feel fantastic. It's too bad that
a lady friend take it.
It's too bad that they're 10 hours away is the problem. You know, so 10 hours better than all the way across the country or, you know, all the way across the.
They say distance doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. So anyway, either way, where we're going with that, man.
So what's going on today? We've got Steve Elliott coming.
Yeah, we're gonna have
on.
Steve Elliott here. I got to make some commercials here. Want to make sure that we thank some sponsors.
This is great. I look forward to talking with him.
Man, where did my Kleenex go? I got.
So who are the sponsors that we have today? For sure, he's blowing his nose. I figured I might as well fill some space in there for you.
I got to click mute on my mic.
It is a fantastic day. You know, we're sitting in the studio, but it's nice and sunny outside here in Colorado.
It is a beautiful day. Like we mentioned, I'd like to, you know, Platte Valley and all that. I think Platte Valley we mentioned Top Shelf Extracts. Top Shelf Extracts did hook up with CPM as far as I'm aware. So Compassionate Pain Management in Louisville and Lakewood. Group of people who care about providing the best care, services, and medicine offered. Holistic Healing Center that offers massage therapy, acupuncture, Reiki practices, and pain management care plans, along with cannabis products like top shelf extracts. I'm pretty positive, and if they don't have it now, they will. Or I'm pretty positive they will. I'll confirm that on Monday when they come back in, but I think Monday they did confirm that. The stuff that can help improve your life and decrease your suffering. So make sure you check these guys out. Lakewood, Louisville, Lakewood 1585 Quail Street, number 13B. Excuse me, number 13B. And is there ever a number 13V?
It's probably out there somewhere. It's probably between, that half floor kind of thing.
Like
it's between 13 or
like
12 and 14 somewhere.
Like a massive, anyway. And in Louisville at 1116-7 West Dillon Road on the southwest corner of West Dillon and McCaslin. Call them, Louisville 303-665-5596, or in Lakewood 303-232-3620. Once again, that's Louisville 303-665-5596, Lakewood 303-232-3620. Also, a very, very, very extremely special thanks to Rare Dankness and the crew over at Rare Dankness, everybody involved with those guys, Pam, Scott, just extremely important people in my life right now, man. They're not only been sponsors here on the show for a couple months now, but also went up to Scott's birthday party. Pam has been really welcoming, and talking with me and some stuff, and just really caring people, and there are some really caring people, Derek helped me out with my doctor's visit here recently, and I know he don't want to blast me on. I wanted me to blast that on. I know he probably didn't want me to blast that or whatever, but
it's a good thing to say thanks to all those people that have been helping us out. There are a lot of people out there that have kept us going.
Yeah,
but
if
also, it wasn't for all those individuals, like Derek.
And Pam, Rare Dankness, and all those guys, and also we I don't want to forget about Adam Dunn and TH Seeds and all those guys too. So it's crazy. We got Rare Dankness, we got TH Seeds, and both great, fantastic companies that you guys should consider going with. And right now, hopefully, the situation with the seed situation that's come up, which I'm not too familiar with how deep it's going to go or whatever. There's some people talking about in the state legislature, like, if you have 6 plants and a limit and blah, 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 then why do you need seeds? And it's like, well, seeds are not a plant. And why can you not prepare for the situation?
We have a lot of education to do.
And it's like,
legislative people don't seem to understand the bigger picture.
Seeds may not be available all the time. So it's like, if you have your plants now and you just may not have them later. So maybe you need the seeds from those plants that you have. It's like...
Well, what if your plant
it's like Armageddon.
Gets contaminated with something or dies, or you forget to water it, or whatever the reason is?
You need to restart.
Happens,
or say Armageddon starts, and you need to add it into
Armageddon starts.
Armageddon happens.
I don't think they're going to care if you have seeds at that point.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, they need to make seeds and access available, because I need to put those in with my cucumber, my lettuce seeds, and all my other stuff, inside the bomb shelter. I'm not that conspiratopical.
How deep is your bomb shelter there?
It is deep. It's deep. All right.
Yeah, hemp seed is a good one to pack into your bomb shelter.
Yeah, and that's another thing that hopefully we'll get to talk with soon. I know that there's a situation maybe you might not be able to talk about a lot, but not only here in Colorado, but maybe some other places that you got some hemp situations going on. So let's get to some commercials here. Make sure you check out raredankness.com, 970-812-DANK. Good friends over there. Also, raredankness.com. They got seeds, available location. Everything's split up into different categories. They got the OG category, sativa, indica, and probably some of the widest selection of shiz out there. All right? And also make sure you go check out thseeds.com. And big thanks to Adam and everybody. And tonight, I didn't realize it was Friday, but first Friday going down. How the hell I'm going to get down there, I have no clue, but we'll figure it out. So,
if I'm still around, I'll give you a ride for sure.
Okay, cool.
Ride down in the Cannabis Health News Magazine Jeep.
And it is the Cannabis Health News Magazine Jeep. And we may be trying to work out, you may be trying to work out something with something else, and I'm myself trying to work out with something else.
Sounds like those might connect at one point too.
We gotta get a ride, man, and I don't mind blasting Medved Chevrolet or something on the side of the car, you know, and like.
Well, there's Han Accurate up in Boulder who's come on board with us recently.
Hey,
so
fantastic.
Eventually, I have a feeling that we'll have spaces or sponsors that fill that niche.
And radio salespeople, you know, when I went through sales and whatever, worked through Clear Channel or whatever, was one of the favorite things to do was be able to trade cars. Every salesperson had a car. Because it was like, you know, a couple $100 car payment or whatever. I mean, the companies are willing to do that. So anyway, all right, we'll see what's up. And
ideas.
Hopefully Steve Elliott hasn't given up on us yet. So I'll give him a call here in a second. Thank you, Jason Lauve from Cannabis Health News Magazine, for sitting in here with us. I had some great compliments.
Thanks, Tim.
I had some great compliments about you and your show that you were on the other day, and some people that were like very encouraged about us bringing in some more patients. So if you're anybody's interested in learning about Jason, where can they go to first of all find you about your case and everything? So
right now, if you do a search online for Jason and cannabis or Jason Lauve, L-A-U-V as in Victor E, you'll come across all the information about my case. You can also go to cannabishealthnewsmagazine.com. I could go down that list, but that's a good start for y'all.
Awesome. Yep.
Thank you.
One of the first awesome victories here in Colorado, and
that was a big one. That was a possession question. I was charged with possession of 2 pounds 2 ounces, and eventually won my jury trial.
The jury said basically that
it's up to us.
The patient decides how much, and then 1284 and blah blah blah. All right, we got to get to Steve Elliott here in a second. So
Steve, sorry about that. We'll catch you in a second.
he's used to it, I'm sure. So have yourselves a fantastic Friday, and we'll get back here in just a second. Thank you all for hanging out with us. JohnDoeRadio.com if you missed anything. And please email me, johndoe@johndoeradio.com if you would like to advertise with us and help us keep going here on the John Doe Radio Show. And hell, if you're moving here to Colorado and we've talked or whatever, I need a roommate for next month. Just throwing that in there. That's probably crazy to sit here and throw out in front of everybody. And I don't want to get any crazies or anything like that one Kim chick. Not the Kim here, but the Kim chick that was in the chat for a minute, you know. Anyway, all right. Check us out, johndoeradio.com. We'll be right back.
The John Doe Radio Show.
Platte Valley Medical Marijuana Center in Denver has some of the most affordable prices anywhere. Don't believe us? Call them 303-953-0295. That's 303-953-0295. Or just head down and visit them. Trust us. Located at 2301 7th Street, Unit B, across from the Denver Aquarium. Great people who care about a fine selection of meds and a wide variety of extracts from top shelf extracts. With daily specials like Monday Madness with premium strain-specific joints for only $1 when they're normally $3. Wax Wednesday with all wax for $15 a gram when normally $20 a gram. And during the NFL playoffs, Platte Valley is running a special on select ounces for just $125 and select $15 eighths, not bottom shelf strains either. You didn't miss what I just said. $125 ounces and $15 select eighths, not bottom shelf strains either. Don't miss one of the busiest and most convenient dispensary locations in Denver, Platte Valley Medical Marijuana Center, located at 2301 7th Street, Unit B, 303-953-0295. And until January 15th, everyone gets patient prices at $25 eighths and $150 ounces. Platte Valley Medical Marijuana Center. Trouble with the law, or maybe you're looking to start a medical marijuana business? The law firm of Edson, Mayton, and Matz can help. Attorneys Warren Edson, Lauren Mayton, and Chris Matz offer a wide range of criminal defense-related assistance and cannabis legal services. Call the team of legal professionals ready to help you or your business out today. 303-831-8188. That's 303-831-8188. Or check out the website, warrenedson.com. That's warrenedson.com. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop has got your high-quality, American-made, unique pieces and some of the best scientific glass available anywhere. Artists and companies like Mike Fro, Cowboy, Zob, Royal, and D-Rock with some of the best products the Mile High State has to offer. Treehouse, Joel Halen, Worm, Tricky, and more. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop also carries Sheldon Black, one of the highest names in glass standards. Don't miss out on the Holy Water style collection either. Our friend John Waters offers his line of shirts, jackets, hats, and skateboards for men and women. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop for everything everything the JDR Army needs. Mention JDR or John Doe Radio and get 20% off. 20%. Visit MadHatterSmokeShop.com or email store@MadHatterSmokeShop.com for inquiries. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop, 6091 West Colfax Avenue in Denver, 303-953-7015. Store@MadHatterSmokeShop.com, 6091 West Colfax Avenue, Denver, Colorado, 303-953-7015.
So high, it needed clearance from NASA. It's the John Doe Radio Show.
Y'all hanging out with us on the John Doe Radio Show. Thank you very much. About to give our good friend Steve Elliott a holler here. Sorry about that, Steve, for always being delayed. And, yeah, I'm sure that he pretty much... I went into the five-figure...
I would think he'd expect time limits and being on time all the time, being in this media realm that we're in, right?
Yeah. You would
Just
think
teasing.
that time...
Just teasing.
Yeah, he would understand time. And then I went into the no one gets left behind liner because I didn't want
Sounds
him...
like you're calling Spain or something.
It gets kind of weird like that sometimes. A little bit loud and... something.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going, Steve? You're live on John Doe Radio. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man?
It is Friday, as always, here on the John Doe Radio Show. So thank you very much for hanging out with us. I know we're a little bit later than we usually call you, and it seems like every week we keep delaying more and more. So,
Welcome, Steve. It's good to hear your voice.
Not a problem. I've been listening, so I was following along.
Awesome. Hold on here a second. For some reason, it sounds like you're really low. Let me make sure I turn you up here. I'm going to turn off this.
I'm actually really high.
That's why it is right here. Okay, go ahead, man. We got you here. Steve Elliott from TokeTheTown.com, our great friend that we get to talk to every Friday on the John Doe Radio Show. Well, last Friday, I think you were traveling and taking care of some business in your home state, so I hope that was a fantastic trip. I hope it wasn't anything that needed to be taken care of. Did you have fun last week in Alabama?
I had a good trip down there. Got to meet and talk with the Alabama Medical Marijuana Coalition in Huntsville. They were having their legislative session kickoff meeting, and they have a bill in the legislature there in Alabama that would legalize medical marijuana in the state and establish state licensed dispensaries. So it's pretty exciting times down there.
Was Laura Nall on that committee with you?
By the way,
excuse me.
By the way, this is Jason Lauve we have with us on today. He does Cannabis Health News Magazine, has set up shop in office here in Warren Edson's office, and is really working hard on some, not only his magazine and kind of trying to partner us up with here in John Doe Radio, do some sales. We're trying to create this as an actual radio station rather than just one show, and then also work with the magazine. And he's also, we can say you're working on some hemp bill.
There's the hemp bill.
Yeah, there's a few.
HB 12-1099. It's a fighter remediation hemp bill. There's a handful of other things, but I want to make sure that we have time for Steve.
Not only here, but in another state. So I just wanted to let you know that he was on here. So yeah, go ahead. What was your question?
Oh goodness,
Laura
I
Nall.
was just asking about Laura Nall. Yeah, Loretta. Excuse me. I was wondering if Loretta Nall was on that committee.
Loretta is behind the other bill. There are actually two medical marijuana bills in the Alabama legislature right now. That's first ever that I know of.
Wow.
Loretta's, I believe, is HB 25. The AMMJC's bill is HB 66. So there are two different bills going right now.
Do those appear to conflict with each other? Is that going to confuse people? Kind of like in Colorado, we may have three potential ballot issues or initiatives.
I'm not sure if it will confuse anyone. I know that this is like the fifth year in a row that Loretta's had a bill in the legislature. And AMMJC, this is their first one. Loretta's is sponsored by a liberal Democrat and a heavily Republican legislature. So those who have been watching the scene for several years predict that it might suffer the same fate as the previous 4 or 5. The difference with the AMMJC's bill is, or one of the differences is, that it is introduced in the legislature by a conservative Tea Party Republican. Therefore, it might garner a little more support among the GOP majority in the Alabama legislature.
And
what they were able to do is establish some common ground with the conservatives in the legislature, with some of them, by pointing out, look, we both oppose federal interference in the way that Alabama decides to handle this marijuana issue. And since the Tea Party guys are like limited federal government, they can find that to agree on, that maybe they should tell the federal government that Alabama can set its own policies when it comes to medical marijuana. So that, that reaches a receptive audience in that state.
yeah, it's interesting to also see. You mentioned, that Tea Party Republican, and just the interesting change in politics that, not only here in the state of Colorado is seen, but a lot of other states. And the struggle is as we see these. As we see these, here, hold on a second. Are you having a problem here? No, you're good. Okay, cool. Jason's maybe having a problem here. As you see these state legislators and these sort of situations change and mindsets change, like Alabama, you would think, wouldn't have necessarily maybe a couple bills going on, or, even Ohio or wherever it is. But the frustrating part is you may have that, and then you may get it through, but then you got that one or two, I'm going to say it, bastards that are just there. And I apologize. I know, Steve, you have a good friend there, Amy Banksky with Rainier Wellness. That is, she just posted up that they're listening over, and there's a couple other dispensaries that sit and listen to the John Doe Radio Show. And I hate to cuss whenever I know that or anything. So, but it's frustrating. It is, and it's frustrating to sit and see these things go through and progress happen, but then yet you have that. And I hate to get to it sometimes, the soccer mom or the NASCAR dad or the conservative or whatever, the governor or a mayor or whatever, just stand in the way just because, whatever moral efficacy that they have, even though it goes against what the people want. That's what kills me.
It's not all of us conservatives that feel that way, though.
And I consider myself a Republican. I consider myself more of a libertarian.
There's overlap.
Because
the
Republican Party doesn't necessarily represent what it did before,
Right,
and the
neo,
values of the
right.
Republican Party are not there where they should be. So I am definitely libertarian, but to see that conservative side come in and want to play that moral card, it's frustrating. And I'm sure, Steve, in Alabama, it's worse than almost in some areas. You would think.
Yeah, you already have some of that happening there because, of course, they've gotten the attention of some media, and people are paying attention to it. So what you've already had is one of the legislators commenting very inaccurately on the bill, and he said something about it would support the Mexican drug cartel because that's where all the patients would go to buy their medicine. And it's as if he didn't read the thing before he commented on it, because the bill specifically would establish state licensed dispensaries that patients could have safe access through. And besides, what self-respecting medical marijuana patient, if they had any choice or any options at all, would go buy Mexican swag weed, it's just not going to be very effective for most medical conditions, and they're going to look for something better if it's at all available.
Yeah, that's
another thing that they've already run into down there is that a sheriff came out with a press release, one of the county sheriffs, and of course it had little to do with reality when it came to both the effects of marijuana and the effects of this particular piece of legislation, because he too seems to have neglected to read the thing before he commented on it. He told several outright falsehoods in that press release, which came out yesterday, I think, including the fact that he had some quote in there like the stuff wouldn't even be taxed, and it is specifically taxed in the bill. The language is in there. And
it's interesting to hear law enforcement start to use some of those financial references, however. So it almost shows that they're losing their footing on referring to criminal statistics and references to underage use and so on and so forth that they used to do.
It really is amazing to see the tenuous grip on the facts that a lot of these guys have, or at least they pretend to have when they comment on legislation. It would have been as easy as reading the thing for him to have been able to comment intelligently on it. And I would welcome an open and intelligent debate with anyone on either side of the issue, as long as we're debating the same facts. It makes it a little more difficult to have a productive discussion when they're talking about things that aren't even true when it comes to the language of this bill.
And that is what's frustrating. You go to these hearings and you sit down and you have to, it's like, okay, here's what the frustrating part is too. It's like, you know, you have citizens that get up there and talk, but then you have these uniformed police officers that work for the government, sort of. I mean, they're agents of the government. They're agents of, you know, they're supposed to be doing a certain job.
They're servants of the people.
They shouldn't be, in my opinion, there giving, and this may be a farked up opinion or whatever, they should be there in their own time, out of uniform. I fully believe in the fact that the government, I mean, it's against the law for any government agency, you know, police departments, whatever, to campaign against a certain law. Like Amendment 40 was Amendment 44 here in Colorado when it came around, where I was living up in Northwest Colorado. This police department and this crime task force had printed up a bunch of paperwork, sending it out to the newspapers saying, you know, why this was a bad idea and stuff. And there's a certain line that you can cross there where it's like you cannot campaign for or against any certain type of initiative. And these law enforcement officials, these government whatever, I mean, they cross the line constantly.
Well,
and they cross the line with, just like what Steve said, it's not with it's not with facts. They cross the line with their just moral ridiculousness.
Their thought process. I would ask everyone, go ahead online and look up the IQ level. Not to really use this as anything to berate anybody. I just want to point out that the IQ level, if you will, of certain sectors of law enforcement are at a certain level. I'm not going to say where it is. I'll ask that you all look that up, please, for yourselves, so you don't see that I'm trying to skew any information here. But it's interesting to see that we have law enforcement governing people, if you will, or trying to enforce laws upon people who have a higher IQ on average. And so
I just saw that.
Steve, when you point out those references where law enforcement just pulls things out of a hat without reading anything, it really exemplifies how, unfortunately, how simple the problems that we're facing are. It really comes back to simple education.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, on the other side of it, very few people pick up on those things from the public perception.
Yeah, but you say simple education, but see, here's the thing: is people simply don't want to listen. Is the problem?
Oh, there's a good football game on.
Yeah, exactly.
See a new episode of House?
They just want House. Did you hear? Did you hear they canceled House?
I see. I don't watch TV,
exactly,
so I don't know these
man.
things.
That's all people give a damn about. This complacency, and if they would just get off their ass and do something about it and move forward, you know, like work with your hemp bills, you know, like in.
Well, here's
in
something
Alabama.
I want to ask Steve. Steve, do you have a response to situations like that in terms of media, writing editorials, so on and so forth, opinion columns, where you can address those specific issues?
Well, Steve does. I don't know if you know this. Steve does tokeofthetown.com. Yeah, did you obviously know that?
I know about Toke of the Town, but I mean in terms of local.
Okay. Yeah.
You know.
I'd berate those guys on Toke of the Town on a regular basis, and sometimes make light out of them. I think it's really interesting that what you get a lot of times from law enforcement is the claim that, look, we didn't write these laws, we didn't make the laws, but it's our job to enforce them. Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But then if that's the case, why is it that so many law enforcement officials come out so strongly against any attempt to change the marijuana laws? I thought they were just enforcing the laws that we wanted. Why are they trying to tell us which laws to keep?
You bring up a question that I've had for a while, is why are we seeing these people who are supposed to, exactly like you say, who are supposed to be enforcing or protecting us, I should say. They're supposed to be peace officers, yet they're using laws or the excuse of using laws to implement their own social control upon us. And unfortunately, it's hurting us all at this level. And then on top of it, they come in and testify in the name of law enforcement for or against these bills that we're trying to implement on a societal level. And again, like Tim pointed out, I don't mind anybody coming in as an individual, as a citizen, and speaking their mind and so on and so forth. But to represent an entity like law enforcement is very disturbing. It's skewing the perspective, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It really is, and it's an interesting choice of words you use there, social control, because that's exactly how the marijuana laws are applied in the United States, especially on a local level.
Absolutely.
If that local law enforcement happens to know of something else in your life or even in your lifestyle of which he doesn't approve, he really can't get you for that, because either he doesn't have any evidence or there's no law against it on the books. But he does have the marijuana laws, and that's how they're going to be able to F with you all they want to. If they're mad at you about anything else, they've always got the marijuana laws. That's one reason that they're so reluctant to let go of that big tool they have there, a tool of control, a tool of fear and intimidation, to punish people for other things. They just go back and bust them for pot.
That's a hard one for a lot of us who understand how valuable cannabis is as a medicine itself. And so we're put in this situation where we know that this is something that has saved our lives or other people's lives, and so it's something you can't give up. You can't walk away from something like that. And then on the other hand, they're using the laws, if you will, to control all of us. And so we're put in this really interesting position between a rock and a hard place, if you will. But if we just step back for a second and again look at the IQ reference or the social control reference of this all, is it does make sense to distract on a bigger picture. If you distract, say, the population with law enforcement and self-control, the people above, if you will, the white-collar crime can continue to go on. It's not going to be acknowledged because we're distracted, if you will. There's an interesting little poem. I think I found this on Jeff Bridges' website. It was not necessarily a poem, but it's about 5 gorillas in a cage. And there's a bunch of bananas hanging at the top of the cage and some stairs leading up to the bananas. And the gorillas, of course, want to go get the bananas. And so as they do, somebody or some bunch of people from the outside spray them with high-pressure cold water, all of them. And so they cower back in the corners and don't go after the bananas. You take one of those gorillas out, you put a new one in. He says, hey, there's a bunch of bananas up there. I'm going to go get them. And as he does, the 4 other gorillas beat the crap out of him. And so eventually you replace the next gorilla who's been sprayed with water with another new gorilla who looks at those bananas and says, I'm going to do that. I'm going to go after those bananas, and again gets beat up. Eventually, after replacing all the gorillas in the cage that have been sprayed by cold water from the outside, you are left with gorillas that just beat each other up if you go towards those bananas. And I think that's really where we're at this point. We are self-regulating each other based on ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous premises.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good analogy, because
I love having
they
you
wouldn't
today.
know anymore. None of them will even know anymore why they're doing that. They're just doing it. And that is where we're at with the pot laws. They never had a good rational basis to begin with, and what little supposed basis they did have was based on racism and hysteria.
And it's still some sort of variation of that. It's a prejudice that still exists, and that hysteria still exists. If you look at the papers today, there's that reference to the British and the NIDA report, in regards to, oh my gosh, if you use marijuana, you are twice as likely to have an accident. We know this is not true.
And that's going to just screw us here coming this legislative session. Jeez, man. We're going to end up with the DUI.
I don't think it will. I think if we stay rational and use the scientific evidence that's out there and all the reports and studies that have been released.
I'm not trying to be a downer, man, but I honestly think this year that
Steve,
we're going to get, and you guys have done fantastic work. Laura Creho did fantastic work. William Breeze did fantastic work to prevent the DUI bill
Last
here,
year,
and which has probably prevented it from opening up in other states. But honestly, I don't want to be a downer, but I think they're going to set it on top of a tee, get up to bat, and just knock it out of the park. They don't care. They don't care about the statistics. They don't give a damn. They're going to throw so much fear into this and drive this point home that, drug driving is drug driving. It don't matter what your nanogram level is, and that's what's frustrating. Is there is plenty of proof out there to prove otherwise, and it's going to unfairly damage people. And hopefully, my hope is that we do have those legislators that we can sit down and we can lobby and we can talk to.
Let's throw this out there real quick, though. Think about this for a second. Maybe we should approach this from a different perspective, but this is going to affect everybody who drives because they still have to go through that determination of, are you using drugs? Are you impaired? And by the way, I hate to point this out, but every time they point out you are impaired, but what is impaired? Am I impaired physically?
Yeah,
Am I emotionally impaired? Is my judgment impaired? So, okay, so you bring up the per se aspect of this bill. That's the only piece of this that I think is valuable to law enforcement and trial attorneys. Well, it's a paycheck in their pocket.
It is, because it's up to them. I mean, right, Steve? I mean, I view the whole per se argument of like it's completely up to the officer. If the officer thinks that you're fucked up, they're going to take it to court, and the court's going to fly because it's in that law, and it's been left up to the officer.
So this is essentially what Steve is confronting in Alabama. I think we're all confronting in many different states
every
at this point.
State, every
law enforcement is now some sort of part of implementing these bills.
Yeah, for sure.
Steve, what is your opinion on the DUID thing?
We're going to get to try out a per se limit, it looks like, after November's election here in Washington, because 5 nanogram per milliliter blood level of active THC is written into that bill. Unfortunately, it's going to be a limited legalization of up to an ounce for adults, no home cultivation, but with that DUI poison pill inside the language of the bill. I can only hope that it's not used as a tool against medical marijuana patients, but I fear that it will be in some localities in Washington.
Let's do a little hypothetical here for a second, because we know the pharmaceutical industry is, regardless of our opinion on this, we know the pharmaceutical industry is also moving down the path of creating medications that use THCs and CBD, so on and so forth, Marinol, Sativex, and the list is going to open up to many, many other things down the road. What happens now if we see these things on the market as they increase in the market and more and more people realize, hey, this is going to help my cancer and my PTSD and my Alzheimer's and so on and so forth? Is that whole population now going to fall under this regulation? Are we going to now have to have a card that says I'm allowed to take this prescription? However,
they just brought it up in the chat room. What about what about Marinol? Sativex is about ready to get approved in the United States. What about that? What if you're going to have to go to court? What's the difference between that and just using raw marijuana? And sorry, Steve, you got to give you some time here to talk here. And I know we're going back and forth, but and there's probably some news stories that you wanted to talk about too, but. Damn, it's like a snowball effect. Once you get medical marijuana into the system, you still got to fight, like going back to the beginning of what I was saying, you still got to fight these people that are unreasonable.
The problem with a 5 nanogram per milliliter limit, or one of the problems with it, is that there is no exception written into the Washington legalization bill that would allow patients to have a higher level. Most of us never dip below 5 nanograms per milliliter. When we wake up in the morning unimpaired, those of us who have to use large amounts. And it's a real concern because people need to drive to the doctor. They need to drive to the grocery store. A lot of us are able to have productive jobs. To be defined as basically incapable of driving is a bad thing to happen to someone who has no other way than their automobile to get anywhere.
This is like Minority Report. You're guilty before you even did anything.
Exactly, dude. One of my biggest fears of like what could happen in with these medical the driving bills is just immediately. I've been pulled over before with somebody who was driving and police officer smelled marijuana. We talked about it in the show, and it was because of how much they're focused on, the drug driving. Not only they have the pill bottle, that's sitting there, and the campaign here in Colorado with, one side of it's the pill bottle that's spilled out, and then the other side of it's the pill bottle. One side of the pill bottle spilled out with pills, and the other side is the pill bottle spilled out with marijuana. And it's like drug driving is drug driving, and unfairly going after. It's like that dude smelled cannabis, and it was like 20 questions, and it wasn't 20 questions of like of can you step out of the vehicle and do a test for me, you know, like or like when I got pulled over. I've taken one breathalyzer test in my life, and it was after my like 18th birthday. I was coming home from an ex-girlfriend's, and I got was following cars home, and I was the last car in line, and everybody was speeding. The guy pulled me over, knew it was my birthday, just came up to give me a breathalyzer test. And it's not the same thing with marijuana. They ask the 20 questions. It's a harassment. It's a ridiculous situation. And if you say something stupid, like if you which is not even stupid, if you say something like I've smoked that day, boom, you're in handcuffs. You're going to have to take a blood test.
That's a big conversation in of itself, is that whole
deep.
open door of, do you even talk to them? What do you
don't.
do?
You
do
don't.
you take a roadside? Do you do, I mean,
well, no, as far as marijuana, you do not tell
itself.
them. You do not tell them that you have smoked marijuana. Period.
Absolutely
End
not.
of story. You tell them
And
that.
from what I understand, actually, you can't use smell.
Yeah, I don't even know what it is.
That's
but
part of that line of questioning. So anyway, I'm sorry about the deviation.
Yeah,
on that
that's
one.
enough of that DUI bill, because we are going to be talking about it probably a lot more here coming up and in the initiatives here in Colorado. But Steve, dude, man, we just rambled on like crazy here. What you got anything else for us today?
One thing I wanted to mention is Robert Raich, the attorney from Oakland.
Boo.
Both of the Supreme Court, U.S. Supreme Court cases about medical marijuana, he's the attorney that took those there. Mm-hmm. He's written a piece for Toke the Town called Medical Marijuana Profit is Allowed Under California Law. And it's referring to the recent letter from one of the guys that wrote Senate Bill 420.
Yeah.
And he said the intent of that legislation was never to outlaw profit making at dispensaries. There is no explicit language that does that. So that's the argument he makes in that article.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say boo to him or whatever. It's just the situation in California is like, I talked about how it was going to be quick to move to a for-profit system, but holy cow, California is like twisted upside down right now, man. I mean, you got LA, San Diego, so many other areas that are dealing with what they're dealing with, and I just hope that you have some state legislatures, you have some people that take a hold of the situation and change the program to what it needs to be, and revamp the medical marijuana system in California. I mean, it really needs to be, a lot of things need to be changed in California. I mean, it's great that they were the first system, and it's great that they're so open and free, but the system needs to be protected, and also dispensaries need to be protected from the IRS situation, which is probably about to come down, you know, with Harborside and everything. And I mean, it's just another. Yeah, I mean, it's like they've got a revolver, you know, sitting in their hand, and in every chamber they've got, you know, a brand new bullet that they're ready to fire off, and each time, you know, they think of a different design of a bullet, but it still does the same damn thing. You know, it's like. I think of some crazy analogies, I really do, but it's frustrating. I mean, we watched Weed Wars, you know, and you know, the stuff that Steve D'Angelo went through, and I don't necessarily, you know, agree with everything that he said about legalization, you know, maybe the political nature that people have had to go through and stuff, but the frustrating part is that the government is using everything that they can, state prosecutors, I mean, it's not like you're doing your job, you know, in a way. It's like you're not only doing your job, but you're not thinking of how this morally affects people. You're doing your job as too much sometimes.
I would actually sort of take this in a different direction, if you will. Where's the money? So one of the questions I would have for you, Steve, is in all of this exploration, in learning about these politicians that are implementing these bills across the United States or have succeeded or so on and so forth. Have you ever come across any past history from these folks that reveals that maybe there is a bigger perspective? Really where I'm going with that is that I think a lot of us see that obviously the pharmaceutical industry is interested in terms of controlling, say, this market specifically, but also the prison industrial complex, so on and so forth, can make a lot of money from keeping these laws under control. And obviously, we can go through that whole list of elements. But I'm always curious, as to where the money's coming from, and if you found any obvious paths from the influence that may be coming in through other channels.
You there, Steve?
Yes.
So I guess what I'm asking is, have you come across any situation where you found any direct financial influence from corporate entities into or behind some of these bills or some of the law enforcement intentions and so on and so forth?
I do know that definitely has influence, especially at the political legislative level. That money can't help but have an influence in a system that unfortunately has become based entirely upon campaign contributions, and they don't call it quid pro quo, but that's what it is pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And it is.
That kind of thing happens all the time, and beyond that, there are people even within the community that may hold stock in certain big pharma companies and stand to gain from the takeover of certain aspects of this industry by big pharma, who will actually make the argument in public places that big pharma is not trying to take over the industry, even as they stand to gain from it doing exactly that. So you see some duplicity like that. You see some people, talking out of both sides of their mouth. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of it is tainted by huge money moving around.
Always is. See, here's the thing that's frustrating. Like, I just opened up my Google News alerts right now, and CBS News right now. Marijuana smoking motorists twice as likely to crash cars. I mean, new study shows smoking a doobie nearly doubles your risk of crashing a car. Where the hell is this study coming from?
So this is actually from the British reference that I brought up earlier.
Yeah, the February 9th British reference. And sorry to jump
also
around.
From NIDA. And keep in mind, NIDA is only allowed to do studies that have negative results.
Yeah. So anyway,
Right, but they won't fund them unless they have a stated purpose of finding negative results.
Right, thank you. That's actually put a lot more clarity there. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like that's like top news for the day right now. CNN blog picked it up, a bunch of others. I'm looking at my Google News alerts. Damn, that's frustrating because that's not true. That's just not true. That's misinterpreted information. That's using bad statistics.
They've obviously been able to skew the research somehow.
Yeah. Well, just like they did with the local reports about teen use here in Colorado, they said that there has been a huge increase since the increase of teenage use since the centers have opened up over the last couple of years.
Marijuana from patients. And
so what I found was interesting, actually, in that reference specifically, was that that source information actually comes from a shift on the state's data collection. And so they used to use a reference up to 16 years old, and now they have expanded that to include the 17-year-old demographic, which actually could contribute and actually does contribute to that huge increase. So we got to be really careful with what we're looking at nowadays and find out where this information is coming from.
Exactly, and that's what I've said about before about the studies that come down. It's like, they like to use these what are they called, like microanalysis, basically, studies which were put together, like 30, 40, 50 studies, and take, like these 40, 50 studies weren't exactly about, like marijuana use or whatever use it is, but there was questions in there that they asked, like, do you use marijuana? And then they take those and just, it's like, dude, how can you, people may have been lying, people may have been whatever. I mean, and that wasn't the focus of that study. So that information to me is going to be tainted. And that's what a lot of these studies have, they've ran with is just microanalysis, taking, a piece here, a piece there, fitting it together like a puzzle, like they want it to be. And
then on the other side of it,
and fark them.
On the other side of it, when we present evidence from the positive side about specific elements of cannabis, I hate saying that, the opponents, if you will, or the people that question things, want to see the double-blind studies when a lot of other studies are valid in this case.
I call them the drug warriors. because I do hate saying that they, us against them and stuff. And
no, it's really not us against them. It's really we are all. And I know a lot of people are probably going to give me some flack on this one.
I've been thinking.
I'm going to go with that all one kind of concept, and that it really is about education. And I totally can understand.
Do you even know I made amends with Miguel Lopez yesterday?
That's awesome. That's huge. See, anything can happen, right?
Exactly.
Anything can happen, and usually the beautiful thing does result in the end. And so, I guess what I'm getting at is it's really. Our responsibility is to have patience, to make sure that we're using truth and raw source information to present our argument. But at the same time, I just want to sorry to distract from, again, the focus, if you will, but one of the things I want to throw out there, and again, I'm not making any accusations, but we all need to work together. We all need to stop this pointing knives at each other, if you will, and stand organized against the issue that we are trying to confront here. And so, Steve, do you see any real movement in any state or any locality similar to people like Craig Baresh, if you will, who's going around doing petition drives and really being active, or we have people in Colorado? Do you see any evidence beyond just individuals into where there are groups that have aligned now to finally come on board with this organization and moving towards not a defensive position but an offensive position?
I think the good news and the bad news is that it comes down to individual people willing to put themselves on the line and put themselves on the front line and really agitate and educate to get us into the next level of this thing. People like Craig Baresh are what we need millions of across the land, because if we had someone that active and that determined in every community, it would happen very quickly and very definitively, this change that we're seeking with the marijuana laws. It is just a matter of being stubborn and determined and sticking your neck out. It is going to happen when people at the local level are all willing to become that vocal and that active, and it's not going to happen until then. As good as leadership is, it's the people on the ground in the communities that are going to be the final arbiters of change.
It sounds like you're talking about a fundamental American value that most of us, I would have to assume, if we're here and understand our history, would hold and uphold, and really believe in, and that is, the community, local community communication support, the headstrong, if you will, where we don't take no for an answer, that we really believe in our morals and those around us.
Right. The facts are with us on this, and if we stick to that line of argument and make these reasoned, clear arguments as far as why these changes need to happen, the changes will happen. As long as we're allowed to have an open debate, we're going to win it.
I absolutely agree with you on that. As long as we're allowed to have that open debate, and I think that's something that we need to think about. These issues are being threatened, whether it's First Amendment, Fourth, Fifth, 10th, we can go down that whole list, if you will. I think the cannabis issue is bringing a lot of these things to light. Unfortunately, those of us who've been under the gun, literally, have found out the hard way how many of our liberties are threatened, if not already deteriorated. And so it makes, for me at least, it makes it that much more important that we come together as a group and carry a message. It's not about any individual. This is a message that we're trying to get out to the rest of the people out there. And what you point out, that's critical here is that one-on-one community relationship. What I find is that even if I have a person who's very oppositional, if you will, with my beliefs about cannabis, if I have a sit-down conversation with them, I know by the end of that conversation they're going to go, maybe I can use cannabis.
Yeah, definitely.
I think if people are willing to talk honestly and openly with each other about cannabis, that's the point where we win on the information front. When the information is on your side, the more of it out there, the better. And finally, people are starting to get over this taboo around talking about cannabis and even admitting that they find it useful. And that's why the scales are tilting, because finally we can say what's on our mind rather than being afraid of some sort of repercussions. Now, I'm not saying that veil has been lifted everywhere, because I know a lot of people right now that if they felt like their careers wouldn't be threatened, their families wouldn't be threatened by saying so, they would tell the truth about cannabis too. That is something that we're working towards, though, and the day that people can talk about it is the day we win.
Absolutely. It's one of those things that builds momentum behind it. I know I wouldn't have come out publicly about cannabis before my trial, but after learning the hard way, if you will, I am headstrong, and this is my passion, my life, my meaning now. And I totally understand that there are people out there that are afraid to speak about this, even with their family members and their close friends. It's a little hard for us in Colorado sometimes to remember that outside this box, literally, this square state, rectangular state, that there is the reality out there. And we still have it here. I lost custody of my son because of my cannabis acquittal, and my ex held that against me. And so there's still a huge stigma out there. We still have the educational system to deal with in regards to how cannabis is talked about. I think, honestly, the biggest issue here is parental responsibility. I think it's our responsibility as a parent to have an open conversation. I know if I were a kid nowadays and I saw what was going on the outside and my parents didn't speak to me about cannabis, I too would probably be curious. And so we're at a really interesting point. We have a lot of momentum behind us. We have a lot of opportunities. They may appear very scary and confronting, but I think they are honestly an opportunity out there. And so I encourage everybody, just like Steve said, please, do what you can to educate those around you, and it really does make a difference. I think we are starting to tip the scales.
Yep, definitely. And yeah, man, it was great having Jason Lauve in here with us today from Cannabis Health News Magazine. Steve, is it anything else you had for us, man?
Enjoy talking with you, Tim and Jason. I'm looking forward to speaking with you again next Friday.
Yeah, he should be around quite a bit, and we'll get
Thanks,
him in,
Steve.
we'll get him in here as much as possible. And he's doing some great things. And as soon as we can talk more about the hemp bills that you have going and the situation that's going on, that would be fantastic, because some different angles that you're trying to do. We've talked about it before last week.
I think next week we'll talk about this. On Monday, we have testimony coming up at 1:30 on February 13th at the Denver Capitol in room 0111 if you wanted to come on by. And hopefully after that, we'll have some real key information about that. I really do thank you both for having me on the show today. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, Steve, as always, if you ever anything to get to us, you need getting across, whatever works. Oh, by the way, there's 3 stories. Actually, no, 2 specific stories that I want to thank you on. That is obviously the coverage of the Joan Rivers Smokes Marijuana and Reality show. That was easy access for us to get to, and I really like that. And then the second one was the prank by inmates to add pig on the police car decals.
I love that one.
Yeah, you made my day with that one. So I just posted up the picture on my Facebook page, just the picture alone, and it's beautiful.
I had a smile on my face all morning.
There is a push. In the state for them to leave it on, because there are people even people that don't give a damn about the pig thing. They're like, so what? You got hosed by people in jail. I'm not paying for your stupid mistake through taxpayer dollars. And to have your...
Oh, I like that approach. I hope that gains steam and that they prevail and leave the pig on the police cars.
Yeah, I know, because not all of them have it. They've replaced some of them. And you know what? If they're going to have taxpayers' dollars be it, you know what? You should have checked it before it left the damn prison. If you're going to have prison inmates making decals for police cars, you better expect some crazy shiz is going to happen. Who's the
I say each trooper that wants it changed on his car pays out of his pocket.
Exactly. I mean, how stupid. I mean, I have respect here, and I'm not trying to lose respect. The police call us stupid sometimes. How stupid can you be to outsource police something to inmates who hate you?
I think that reveals a lot there.
These people have figured out how to get out.
We talked about this earlier, right?
They figured out how to get out of Alcatraz. How do you think they're not going to figure out how to hack a program and put a pig inside of a little pig design inside of a cow? It's like I don't. You know what? It's not the prison inmate's fault. It's your fault.
You know, it really shows how intelligent some of our prison inmates are.
Dude, you got nothing but time to sit there and think, and that's
I love it.
That's good and it's bad. You know, I mean, there's some people that belong in there, but also some people, you know.
I'm not
don't
saying
belong in
everyone's
there,
right
so.
or wrong. There's always exceptions to rules.
I love that story, man. Thank you for bringing that to us. I don't know if if the world would know about that too much if it weren't for you bringing that to our attention, dude. You rock.
I want that as a T-shirt.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
If anybody is going to be at Cannabis Cup, High Times Cannabis Cup in Los Angeles this weekend, look for Jack Rikus of Toke the Town. He's going to be there for us.
Fantastic.
Awesome. You're not going to get to make it down?
No, Jack gets to have all the fun, and I get to slave away here in the office.
Awesome. Well, maybe
You sound like me, Steve. I'm
yeah.
gonna hang out here too.
try and maybe make it down in April. I don't know if there's something you can do. Maybe Village Voice, or maybe you and William Breeze can maybe put together something and do a highlight together. Or I don't know. Somebody may have, since Rainier Wellness is listening to us. Rainier Wellness sponsor a trip to Steve to come here and hang out with us at the Cup. Amy, come out here and hang with us too. So it'd be cool. Good times. So. All right. Anyway, yeah, good times. Thank you, Steve, and check out Steve, tokethetown.com. Last couple of weeks, we've got a little bit off of your SeattleWeekly.com articles and the smoke signals that you do there, and you obviously love edible reviews and stuff like that. We finally got a coffee here, man. Somebody's making a coffee.
All right.
So good times, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Okay,
Steve.
you guys have a great weekend.
Hey, have yourself a great
too.
weekend, Steve. See ya.
Bye-bye.
Steve Elliott, like I said, from tokethetown.com and SeattleWeekly.com, one of our favorite people to sit down and talk to. And the dude is just incredibly opinionated on his show. So, and
we really have to be opinionated to get this information out there
Or on
appropriately.
his-
blog,
on his blog, I mean.
blogs, and his writing. Yeah,
I consider everybody.
it's all media. It's
Phil-
all a show. Excuse me, it's some form of show.
Yeah, Phil's throwing a showdown today. I was about to blast you there, Phil, but I'll keep.
You feeling better?
Yeah.
Phil's feeling better.
Your
too.
shiz is your shiz, man. But I just got to say to the camera. That's all I got to
I
say.
neglected Escher during that part of the short here, and
Dude,
unfortunately,
my dog, my Rottweiler, ripped the shiz out of her leash.
Yeah, we got it. You know,
How the hell? Like
this
in
is
2 seconds.
the key thing. We need to give them attention almost all the time. You know, it's like us. We need some attention.
I turned around. I turned around after coming in, and 2 seconds later, the thing was in 4 pieces. I was like, "What the hell? What did you just do?" And then I just sat there for a second. I'm like, "All right, fine, chew on it."
Yeah, sometimes you just kind of gotta let them get that aggression out.
She's
that energy
awesome.
out.
Tange
It's an energy thing for sure.
Tange the Rottweiler, just awesome when it's just me and her. Like awesomely listen. It's like I call her over and she comes over and she'll either sit at my feet or she'll like bowling ball roll into my legs, and I'm like, knocked me the fark over yesterday, man. And I was
How big
like,
is she now? About 80 pounds or something like that?
she's getting up there. Yeah, she's getting up there. I mean, and the funny thing is, like, she's starting to develop that personality, you know, that doggy personality. Like last night, she's sitting there staring at me. She puts her paw up. I'm laying there on the couch, and you know, she wants attention, or she wants outside, or you know, food or whatever. And we play fetch like outside. It's been cold as hell, you know, so. Fark it, I just throw the little plastic bone in the living room, and she's like run back and forth and whatever. And yesterday, it's like, you know, she was like looking at me and kind of, you know, wanting something. And I was like, what do you want? Trying to figure out, you know, what she wants or whatever. And like her ears kind of kick up a little bit now, and she gives that like little like sideways look. And very smart, purebred Rottweiler, you know. And then
Nice looking animal from last I saw.
Oh yeah, it's all and to get her to like come, which. That sounded really, 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 really funky.
I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Holy
there.
shiznizzle to get her to
I
come.
say here
to come
Yeah,
to
here.
you.
So when she needs to heal or hear.
Yes. Yeah. I think I should just end the show.
You sound like that Bud commercial for the Super Bowl. You know, We Go. Did you see the We Go dog?
Phil, I'm glad that you can just sit there and laugh your ass off at shiz, and then you don't sit here in the mic and get to put your foot in your mouth sometimes. He's like, that's why I'm sitting behind the camera, so I don't do stuff like that. So all you have to do is whistle, and she'll roll right to you. It's like, and bam, right there, she's right there at your feet.
That's awesome.
Which when I got her, I was told that
The
that
trick now is when you do it outside amongst all the distractions. With other
she
dogs
does.
and
She
people.
does,
That's a
man.
good one.
You whistle loud as you can, and the dog comes right at you.
Nice.
And even with distractions, and I mean, it may take a second. She's still crazy. Like when other people get in the house, it's over. Like it's like so hard to like control her to like just sit and be a good dog and chill and like.
That's gonna take time.
Yeah.
That's a time one.
Yeah, but anyway, I
Well,
mean,
you see Usher. I mean, you say I have to make sure that she
Yeah,
stays
yeah.
kind of mellow. Otherwise, she'll jump up on you. She'll butt you. She'll.
yeah, Asher's. You've had her for a
Act like
minute.
a
And
quarterback.
she still gets a little bit wild out.
She
up
has
in
to.
the-
That's why I chose her. She's got all this energy and really encourages me to do more than I normally would do.
Yeah.
So she's an awesome, energized dog. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, why did you choose her as a service dog?" Well, fortunately, I have a lot of mobility and I'm not blind. And yeah, if I were blind, I wouldn't want a dog like her. It really is a case by case basis.
Yeah,
I have
yeah, yeah.
seen birds and pigs and so on and so forth out there. So
Really
who knows?
interesting.
Maybe we should. I have a friend of mine has a parakeet, and then another one has a pig. Maybe we should bring them in and do a little interview with them as patients.
That'd be interesting.
It would be.
Cool.
Not as a parody. I'm serious about this. They're very amazing animals.
For real.
It's hard to think that way sometimes for some people, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's just
no.
when you start getting to the elephants and things like that. That's when I would question your service dog or animal. Excuse me.
That's awesome. Awesome, good times. All right, well, I just got a text here that I gotta figure some shiz out that just the shiz never ends. It just never ends.
It's life. Keep on moving forward. It's all we can do. So it's an awesome day. I think it's.
I thought I had everything figured out today, and I thought I was gonna be taking care of shiz. Phil, I like. God dang it, man. I feel bad for Phil because, yeah. Anyway, here we go. It's the John Doe Radio Show. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us. Make sure you check out our good sponsors that help us out. Compassionate Pain Management in Louisville and Lakewood. Mad Hatter Smoke Shop, 6091 West Colfax Avenue. They're shooting a commercial today, by the way. I don't even want to tell you what the commercial is going to be. Just if you have a chance, head down there around 2 or 3 o'clock. Maybe check it out. I don't even know if they wanted me to send people down there. It's just Mad Hatter Smoke Shop, 6091 West Colfax Avenue. I hear that shop's been doing great, so that's awesome. Also, big thanks to Rare Dankness, as we mentioned. Platte Valley, make sure you check those guys out. Got some incredible extracts and the wax and all that stuff. I heard they had a fantastic day yesterday with the voice break in there. I heard they had a fantastic day yesterday with the Wax Wednesday, and yeah, good times, man. How can you beat $15 and $20 grams for wax and shatter? So it's fantastic. Big thanks to Adam Dunn, THC, it's Hemp Hoodlum. Make sure if you're in town tonight, you come down and hang out with us for the first Friday, 629 Santa Fe Drive, first Friday. Yeah, good times, having fun, hanging out, chilling. I'll probably be down there. Slight chance I won't. Slight chance I'll just take a break and hang out. Nah, I mean, if I can get a ride, I'll get down there. All right, Grow Eyes, Handmade Apparel, Edson Maintenance Mats, Run on Grass, Little Man Hosting, Mile High Wellness, and Top Shelf Extracts, dude. Thank you very, 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 very much for this insanity that you have presented to me in front of us and you have taken to the cup with you. Good luck at the cup. Good luck, Rare Dankness. Good luck, everybody from Colorado that made it out there. Mitch from Incredible. Represent. And Callie, I'm not hating on you here. I'm not hating on you here at all. No hate whatsoever, but we are sending... We sent them out, all right? And don't be surprised if, just like in Amsterdam, some shit happens where Colorado comes in and kind of takes a little bit of the cake. It was your time for a while. I'm not going to say that it wasn't whatever.
It's just
and
kind
who
of
knows? Maybe I'm
expected,
putting my
you
foot in
know.
my mouth, and then maybe California, blah, blah, blah. But I'm telling you, man, we got some people from Colorado heading out
A
there.
lot of people have come here and brought some great contributions, and experiments have happened, and
whether
the
people
results have been phenomenal. So I'm not going to be surprised.
And whether you feel that's fair or not, I don't give a damn. Whether or not that if you come here to Colorado, whatever California company's going to come here, like, I don't...
If you're good, you're good.
I
Let's put it
don't
that way.
care. I don't care because we all need to be sharing each other, and not in that way.
Yeah,
Well, maybe
exactly.
in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, shared love is good too, and then that's a whole other story. Then yeah, yada yada yada. It's a John Doe Radio Show. We do it live in the Mile High. Thank you all for hanging out with us. It is a Friday. I thought it was Thursday all day today. It is, I'm serious. I'm like coming to work today and Phil, and I'm like, dude, it's Friday? And like he's like basically looking at me like I'm crazy. But also at the same time, he was having a fantastic conversation himself, so I don't feel too bad. So hey, I ain't blasted
enjoy
you
your
completely
weekend.
late, completely yet, though, dude. But we're getting close to it. So have everybody have a fantastic weekend. We'll see you again here on Monday. So long as everything goes gravy and good. I mean, honestly, I thank all of our sponsors and everybody that's hanging on with us because they are allowing me to keep it day to day here. And
it's expanding. It's growing. A lot more people are going to be coming on. We have a lot of
there might be
big changes.
There might be a few days.
Additions.
There might be a few days. I mean, it may need to take off here coming up to take care of some business stuff because the business side of things is funky, and we don't have anybody that can necessarily knows how to come in here, run the program, run the show like I do. If we have people that could come in,
one-man band.
We could have people come in here and do the show, but sitting here and running the production and stuff like that, it's hard to find. So if I'm not here one of these days, like yesterday I wasn't here, I apologize, you guys. I had to take care of some very important business, and hopefully I thought it was taken care of, and then I just got a text that it may not be. So anyway, hopefully it is. Have yourselves a fantastic weekend. Smoke too much until we meet again on Monday. If you'd like to email me johndoe@johndoeradio.com. If you still want to giveaway is johndoeradiogiveaway@gmail.com. By the way, the links that we are giving away from Swagger Glass, and we're going to be doing more and more with Swagger Glass, too, coming up here because I'm a huge fan of Dunk, Trainwreck, all the people that work down there. They already made the second link in like a day, brought it to Mad Hatter's, and I'm pretty sure Mad Hatter has that and is going to be sending the link out of there. I'm so jealous of y'all, even though I have some really cool pieces myself. Might be getting a new one from Swagger too. Who knows, man? And that link I am jealous of. It sounds like Darth Vader created this son of a bitch and like came in and hit you in the face with it. Was like, all right, here you go, and no, put the Darth Vader chokehold on you. Was like, here you go, I'm gonna let you hit this, and then it was like, you know what I'm saying? Star Wars 3D. All right, it's the John Doe Radio Show. Have yourself a fantastic weekend. You missed anything, johndoeradio.com. Cannabis Health News Magazine, that website.
CannabisHealthNewsMagazine.com.
Thank you to everybody that makes this show possible. Thank you, Phil. Thank you to all our sponsors. If I missed anybody, make sure you holler at me and tell me. Okay? Mad respect. That's my number one thing is mad respect and loyalty to every single one of you out there, all right? I mean, loyalty means... nothing means more to me than loyalty. Period. End of story. You, the listeners, you, the sponsors. All I want to do is make sure you guys are taken care of. The only reason why I'm doing the whole sponsor thing is so I can pay my bills, pay Phil, pay everybody else. All right. If I could just do this as a hobby, live for free. We all got to make money. We all got to put food on our table. Period. End of story. Smoke too much. See ya.
John Doe Radio.
Radio.
Radio.